السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله. فاتح إلى حضرة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. وبعد, I pray you're well, inshallah, on this wonderful day. Subhanallah, tonight we enter the 25th night, and so make sure you go all out, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. A blessed night, inshallah, for everybody. People are preparing for Eid. I feel it's immature and it's premature as well, both. You don't, there's too much of Ramadan left to be able to, like a quarter of Ramadan, just under a quarter left. And people, I think it's bad adab to prepare for Eid at this point, unless you've got work to do or something like this, you've got businesses that you're running that for sort of food related and to do with Eid. Outside that, the focus should be on these most amazing days. There's a lot left. Yeah, their focus should be on getting to the end and getting as much worship as possible. And people can finish lots of Quran Kareems. Somebody even with like a moderate speed in reading, if they were to start a khatam now, they could potentially finish it. A few juz a day. So I don't think it's good. I don't think it's just bad. People's focus should be on what we have now. Eid will come, and most likely, whatever the outcome happens to be, whether there's Eid prayer or no Eid prayer, that can all be decided on the day, inshallah ta'ala. Anyhow, back to our topic. This wonderful book by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, or Asqalani, I'm sure it's with a shadda. We're on, was it council number 16? He said, what is it now in the Arabic? قيل إن الشهوة تصير الملوك عبيدا والصبر يصير العبيد ملوكا. He said, verily passion, okay, الشهوة, passion turns kings into slaves. Ajib, listen to it again. Verily passion turns kings, okay, into slaves, and patience turns slaves into kings. Allahu Akbar. Should we read it again? Verily passion turns kings into slaves, and patience turns slaves into kings. And then he mentions, do you not see the story of Yusuf and Zulaykha? Amazing, isn't it? SubhanAllah, how beautiful, how powerful is that? That you have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put within every one of us, shahwa, this desire, the lower self desires things. In Ramadan, shayateen are locked up, but you can find people will still be desiring certain things, and it could be to do with money, it could be to do with the opposite gender, it could be to do with watching certain things, food. That's the lower self. That's what it's been. What it was used to before Ramadan. It's sort of still surfacing those desires and so forth. So here, Ramadan's about curbing those desires, isn't it? It's trying to learn about yourself, where your weaknesses are, and how you can become a better person as long as you control those desires. And so here, so beautiful. Verily, passion turns kings into slaves. How many kings have fallen, as a result of their preferring their shahwa and giving preference to their desires and not making the right choice and allowing their desires to take control, okay, and then they have become slaves, okay, they lost everything they had as a result of that. So here, this is the danger of the passion, okay, have passions and allowing passions to overtake one. The danger is that it can ruin everything for you, subhanallah. And how many people have fallen, because of their love of the ego's love of dunya, love of money, love of fame, love of power, okay, love of leadership, okay, all of these things. This passion has taken out some incredible people. Yet at the same time, patience turns slaves into kings. Okay, here we are in Ramadan learning to have sabr. Say, no, I'm not going to eat. No, I'm not going to look. No, I'm not going to say. No, I'm not going to strike. no, I'm not going to invest in this, a'udhu billah. All of this sabr, learning to hold back, okay, subhanallah, I'm sure we all agree it's made our lives much better, because it's made us better people, okay. And these choices are choices that we made for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so here it has its own barakah, okay. And so here, again, the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, okay, and Zulaykha, okay. Hey, look, Zulaykha was a queen, okay, in the sense that she was living in, you know, from one of the wealthiest families, okay, you know, from such a high status in the community, okay. She's like a queen, you know. She has the power. People listen to her. Yeah, subhanallah. And the true king is Yusuf, you know. Here, Yusuf alayhi salam, the great prince, perhaps better to use the word prince rather than king. Here, subhanallah, he was a winner. He exercised his sabr. He said no to the haram, okay, and Allah made him Yusuf, you know, the head of the treasury, the whole of the, what is it, all of Egypt's coming to him, even the very people, his brothers who try to kill him off, you know, subhanAllah, they're at his door. And this is what happens when people curb their desires, and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them, puts them in power. They become strong, okay, through the power of Allah. And we have some wonderful stories in Kitab al-Tawwabin by Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi rahimahullah ta'ala. He has a story which I cite a lot, you know, because I saw this grave in Damascus in a neighborhood called Miski. And even Ibn Qudama mentions a different area, which was brilliant, because the area he mentioned was an area where I happened to live next to Jamia Hanabila. It's a very old mosque in the area of As-Salihiyah. And I used to live in a house right across the road from Jamia Hanabila. And I didn't know this story, but he mentions it, how the eastern door, which was the opposite side to where we were living, in that alleyway there, you know, he mentions the story that I'm about to cite for you. But the story itself is wonderful. You know, it shows you what happens when somebody makes and prefers God over, you know, their shahwa. So the story goes that there was a young man who used to sell flowers, and he used to knock on doors, and he would sell at the doors. And there was a young lady there who, you know, he was a very handsome man, and she fell for him, right? And so, subhanAllah, one day she plotted that next time he comes, I'm going to try to lure him into some sin. And so when he knocked on the door, and she said, "Come in, please." And he was showing the flowers that he has to sell, and she closes the door. And when she closes the door, she says to him, "Listen, if you don't give me what I want from you, okay, then I'm going to scream." And he's stuck now. What does he do? Yeah, those old Damascus houses, you can't run out the back door. There is no back door. They sort of close. There's only a front door, and once you enter the old Arab houses, there's no exit. And they have a courtyard, and you know, mashallah, a few stories, and there's somebody else's house is connected to the back. So she's standing at the door. He can't win. So he's trying to think, what do I do? Most people's dreams have come true. And you know, I'm not joking, right? Most people think, wicked, bro. You know what I mean? Like, this is what have I dreamt of? Oh God, ya Allah, I can't get out of this. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Okay, a lot of people are thinking of how do I get into, how can I commit haram? You know, and they don't find ways to do it. And which is a blessing from Allah. Allah protects them. However, in this situation, you know, young man, young woman, perfect, right? But not for this young man, because he's got a different preference. You see, for him, it's not about individuals; it's about the Lord. His heart's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when your heart's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, you're gonna find a way. You have to find a way. How do I get out of this situation? So he thinks out of the box. This is the same thing with lots of people when they want to pray at work and they can't pray. They think out of the box. They pray in places you couldn't imagine, because for them, priority number one is, I need to get my prayer in, no matter what it takes, at whatever cost. I need to get my prayer in. SubhanAllah, when we were in Hajj, okay, there was a young lady who had she had some type of infection in her eye, and the doctors had agreed that she was going to lose her sight. And the only way she could save her sight was if she was to travel back before Hajj, come back to the UK, and in the UK they had the treatment to save her sight. She said, listen, I don't care, right? I don't mind losing my sight. Don't take me back. I want to perform the Hajj. I want the Hajj. Please don't take me back. I don't mind losing my eye for the sake of, performing my Hajj. These were her words, because the Hajj group leader came back and he told us, he goes, this is what I heard her say, subhanAllah. She's pleading, please, uncle, don't send me to the UK. I don't mind losing my eye. That's because something's happened to her heart. So now he's in this situation, right? What are you going to do? You got one door in front of you. You try to attack the lady, okay? What's going to happen? You try to move her, she's going to scream. Who will they believe? And so, subhanAllah, look how a believer works. Okay, a believer will do anything it takes, okay, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to save himself or herself from displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever it takes, whatever means necessary, okay, to do that. And that's exactly what happens. Because what would you do in this situation? What would you do? And I don't mind you pausing this. I'm sure you can pause this, right? I've never tried it. And just to think for a moment, what would you do? And ask those around you, what would you do in this situation? And subhanAllah, look what he did. He said to, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Okay, but just give me a moment. Okay, I just need to go to the bathroom. Right, just need to go to the bathroom. So he went to the bathroom and he did his thing, okay? And he took the filth and he put it all over himself, okay? And he came out. What did she do? She did the obvious. When she sees that, she just moved to the side, opened the door. Off you go, mate. You're mad. Guy's nuts. Like, who would do that to themselves? Why would you put all that all over yourself? Okay, why would you put all that filth over yourself? And now, not only that, he has to walk through the streets of his neighborhood. People know him. As soon as he steps out, people recognize him. Oh, Fulan's son. Okay, oh, Fulan, mashallah. He thought he was an intelligent lad. What's he doing? Covered in filth, walking through the streets, okay, to go to his house. But now, and this is exactly what happens. People don't know the whole story. They make a judgment based on what they see without doing their research. So if you look at it on face value, you think, the guy's nuts. Like, what is he doing? Okay. And you can make all sorts of judgments about this individual. But in reality, is he mad? He's not mad. Because if you hear the whole story, you just take it out of it. You think, go on, mate. You see, and that's what happens. He went home, took a bath, changed his clothes. In the community, he's nuts, he's crazy, and the word does get out, okay? In the eyes of that lady, madman as well. But subhanAllah, what he did, it was for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What he didn't do, okay, was he didn't commit zina, he didn't commit fornication, okay? He didn't put himself in a situation, right, okay, like that. And for the rest of his life, he can walk, alhamdulillah, okay, with his head held high, as alhamdulillah, I did have filth on my head and head to toe, and I walked through the streets. But Habibi, I never committed guna. I never committed that sin, okay, to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which one's better? Which category would you rather fall into? Okay, and subhanallah, and this is inshallah ta'ala one for all of us, right? Draw inspiration. May Allah have mercy on him. They said after that day, when he came back out, wherever he would go, they would smell musk coming out from his body, and from naturally he smelt of musk. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored him and gave him this karama, okay, that for his sake, okay, he did what he did, that Allah honored him. And to this day, you have a neighborhood, and I remember reading a Fatiha at his grave, and it wasn't near Jami' Hanabila, it was in the old part of the city. So subhanallah, there are people, and here we're mentioning his story today, slaves who control their passions, okay, and they became kings, okay, they became, people who Allah gave them incredible ranks. And so here, the lesson that we draw from here is, listen, don't give way to your passion. Somebody asked me this question, and may Allah reward them for asking this question. that look, I have good days and I have bad days. I have great days and I have some really lows, right? What do? I said, look, that happens to everybody. Everybody has them, you know. And Sahaba went through these type of moments where when they were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were on super highs, as you have in the hadith in Handara, when he walks out and he says, and he sees Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq and he says, Ya Abu Bakr, nafaqa Handara. Handara as a hypocrite. It happens to all of us, okay? We have great days and we have really bad days. And in Ramadan, it's possible too. You know, my own experience is this, that look, there's a number of things that really help raising one's state. From amongst them is good company, finding good company, okay, finding good friends, okay, finding good circles to hang around in. It might even come in the form of virtual gatherings like this, right? Or better, inshallah, where for you, you might have come across better gatherings where they help your state, okay? Trying to create these type of things in the house where possible. But the second one, I probably should have been first, right, is learning. Personally, sacred knowledge, becoming a student, okay, and learning something, okay, via a book, a lesson, okay, and actually learning like a real student of knowledge, this will help your state, okay, it'll help you, inshallah ta'ala, through the barakah of that learning, okay, it'll help you to get over these type of waswasas that come your way. For sure, things, generic things like keeping wudu, okay, are great protectors, okay, so wherever possible, stay in wudu and so forth. So this is that. Number 17, okay, it is said, what is it? Let's read the Arabic. وَقِيلَ طُوبَى لِمَنْ كَانَ عَقْلُهُ أَمِيرًا وَهَوَاهُ أَسِيرًا وَوَيْلٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ هَوَاهُ أَمِيرًا وَعَقْلُهُ أَسِيرًا. So here he mentions glad tidings. It is said, okay, glad tidings to the one whose intellect is his master. A tuba, okay, glad tidings, okay. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. To the one whose intellect is his master, okay, and whose desire is his slave. For some people, their intellect is not their master. You say to them, what were you thinking when you did that? And they'll say to you, I ain't got a clue what I was thinking, okay? Why? Because they weren't thinking with their mind and they were thinking through their shahwa. And this is what happens when the desires take over, okay? For some people, they get lost. They don't think straight anymore, whether it's to do with drink or drugs or smoking or watching something haram or eating something haram or stealing or going somewhere that they're addicted to. When that kicks in, that state kicks in, all of that knowledge, all of that aql goes blinded. Okay, this is a real problem. So here, glad tidings to the one whose intellect, okay, is his master. Get it there. Alhamdulillah, they're always able to use their aql and their heart, okay, to be able to make the right choices. And then he said, woe to the one whose desire is his master and whose intellect is his slave. And you would have seen again, see, alhamdulillah, Ramadan helps us, fasting helps us to make our intellect, okay, and our mind stronger and willpower stronger, so that we're able to be guided via this, okay. This is an incredible ni'mah from Allah. The brain, there's nothing like it on the planet. No human being can ever create anything like it. They can all come together, you know, the scientists and the great minds of the whole world can come together. They can't create something like the brain. It's a God created, a miraculous, you know, creation, and you're always going to be blown away by it, you know. What is it? The great things that Allah has put in its design, right? So here, the fasting allows you to do that. Why? Because the willpower becomes stronger, okay, and your vision becomes clearer. A spiritual vision becomes clearer, okay. Why? Because you've been practicing taqwa. You see things for as they are. You realize that Allah's in charge, okay, and Allah's watching over me all the time. I'm never alone. That takes, mashallah, becomes strong in your heart, and then you're able to use that, okay, that taqwa, and protect yourself. So here, may Allah protect us and make us from amongst those people whose shahwas are not taken over them and control them. Rather, they control their shahwa. You know, they control their passions, they control their desires, okay? Their heart and their mind is much way stronger, okay, than their passions. Now, and then you've got, it's also said, number 18, man taraka dhunuba raqqa qalbuhu wa man akala al-halala safat fikratuhu. This is very beautiful, and it's so strongly connected to our tradition here. It is also said the one who leaves sins, leaves gunas, okay, his heart will be softened. The heart becomes hardened by lots of different actions, okay. Here, Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad, when rahmah leaves the heart becomes hardened. When the heart becomes hardened, okay, then it becomes difficult for one to cry in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here he said, the one who leaves sins, his heart will be softened, and the one who leaves the forbidden and eats halal, his intellect will be enlightened. Okay, so Allahumma salli wa Sayyidina Muhammad. There are sins generally, they're black dots on the heart, aren't they? And these black dots, if they accumulate, what happens is they then make your vision obscure. Okay, you don't see clearly anymore, and so you're not able to see. Like for example, if you drive in the summer, you'll see, if you're driving the motorway, you see lots of flies. Okay, that have stained the windscreen, and what happens, the vision becomes blurred. Okay, and so here, something similar to that, perhaps maybe there's a better example, when you got lots of mud and dirt on it, you can't see very clearly, and sins are like that. So sins, we want to make tawbah. Every time you commit a sin, say astaghfirullah. Every time you commit a sin, say do some good action, do some sadaqah. Okay, we've got to keep this heart clean and shining. Okay, and inshallah ta'ala, one of the lessons that we take from Ramadan, and hopefully and one of the states rather, is that at the end of Ramadan our heart will be fairly cleaner than normal. We have to maintain that cleanliness and take it out. So lots of istighfar, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, this is probably one of the reasons for why some people are not crying. They haven't cried in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this day, is because their hearts are dead, or hearts are hard, or they are filthy, and so they need to wash it with tawbah, okay, and make lots of istighfar and turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order for the heart to be cleansed. And the heart becomes cleansed, okay, then he also mentioned, look, and the one who leaves haram food, so haram food hardens the heart, okay, and eats lawful and halal food, mubarak food that people have been doing dhikr on, okay, the one preparing it has been remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has an impact on your heart. So all of this comes together when people are eating halal and they're doing halal, okay, the aql becomes illuminated. Okay, when the aql becomes illuminated, for sure that leads to an illuminated life, a life full of nur, actions that are nurani, action nurani, meaning actions that are beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hear people are making these choices themselves. There are people who are not fasting. There are people doing more haram in Ramadan, outside Ramadan. To be honest with you, that's your own decision. Those individuals have to make their decisions. They go to their own graves. There's no time to sit there and have pity for other people. They have no mercy for themselves. They have no pity for themselves. What are you supposed to do? Yes, I make a dua for them. I make a dua that Allah protect them and guide them and take them out of their state, right? But do we have time to waste? We ain't got time to waste. You gotta. We are living in difficult times for lots of different reasons. One of them is that one of the challenges that we have are children, and young people around us. They're going to make choices, okay, that are not going to be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're going to have no control over it. This is a good little message going around about Boris Johnson, that his what is it, great grandfather was a Hafiz Quran, and was a pious man, and he married somebody from outside his tradition, okay, and 2 generations later you have what you have. You have no iman left, like nothing. 2 generations later it's going to happen, and it's scary, okay, but there's very little I can do. And I mean, there's a lot I can do, pardon me, but how many people are going to make an effort? Yes, there is a lot that one can do. I take that back. There's a lot that one can do from in terms of tarbiyah, okay, but if they missed the tarbiyah, they didn't raise their children when they needed to hear the things they needed to hear, they didn't get that, maybe it's too late for some people. But those whose children are still young, they're in a position to maybe change the environment, the house, and introduce some really cool things, good things, okay, that inshallah will help their. Maybe I should be more optimistic, not pessimistic. So forgive me, apologies. Inshallah, there's khair. Inshallah, there's hope now. Allah revealed to one of the prophets, obey me in that which I have commanded you, and do not disobey me in that which I have advised you. So here, this is what Allah has commanded, right? If Allah said something, you've got to do it, and it's an obligation, then the servant, the one whose heart's illuminated, will obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what he told his prophets too, okay? وَلَا تَعْصِينِي, okay, فِيمَا نَصَحْتُكَ, and do not disobey me in that which I have advised you. We learn this from the Quran. The Quran's full of advice, full of recommendations, full of commands and prohibitions, and sometimes they come very explicit, sometimes they come in the form of a story, okay? And so one of the best places to go to hear them is going to be from the Holy Quran, and outside that you can mashallah, read the seerah, read the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is said, وقيل إكمال العقل اتباع رضوان الله تعالى واجتناب سخطه. It is also said the perfection of the intellect is following the pleasure of Allah and avoiding His wrath. Okay, and again, this is what we're looking to do, right? This is if you're following your whims and you're following your desires, that means there's something not right there. It's not cooked yet. Okay, that's your biggest sign, because those things are going to bring you and take you to the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're saying, Ya Rabbil Alameen, protect us from your wrath. Then it said, La ghurbatan lil fadili wa la watan lil jahili. It is also said there is no exile for the learned and there is no homeland for the ignorant. Okay, this is wonderful, because for the one who has knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, learnt their religion, no matter where they are, they can connect with God subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they memorize the Quran, they just keep reading it. Even if people take all their books off them. And this reminds me of the great people like Sheikh Muhammad al-Hashmi, or Sheikh Hisham, Sheikh Hashim al-Majzub, rahimahullah ta'ala, was a great scholar from Ahlul Bayt, great Shafi scholar, was imprisoned because he gave a fatwa that it was haram for people, impermissible for people to marry the people of the government, the Alawi Shias and so forth. And then he was imprisoned, and he didn't, he didn't back off, right? He stuck to his word, he stuck to his knowledge, he stuck to his principles, okay? And he was in prison for over 20 years. And whilst he was in prison, yes, he was distant from his family, okay? But he was still in his homeland. Get it? He was still able to part with the knowledge that he used to part outside and keep teaching people and keep using that as a means to draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, there's no exile for the learned. You can't really cut them off. Even when you cut them off, they're writing something, okay, compiling something, okay, and in prison they're teaching people, okay, and they're giving that dawah. How many people came out of prison? Scholars, Hafiz Qur'ans. I actually met people. I'm not even just saying it. The day one of my friends who was sitting with me in the fifth year or fourth year of my 6-year stay in Damascus, 8-year stay of Damascus, but in the fourth year of the Ma'ad Fatah course, my friend, his father was freed from the prison. He told me, because my dad came out of prison yesterday after 18 years, and he came out Hafiz Quran. I met this man, Hafiz Quran, learned in tafsir and so forth, because whilst they were in the prison, they continued to learn. Why? Because they had access to a scholar. And so, as for a jahid, okay, they never, there is no homeland. This is why the best thing you can do to yourself and for yourself is learn your religion. Why? The more you learn, the better you feel. The more you learn, inshallah ta'ala, the better you practice, okay? And all of that will lead to closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't give me examples of people who learned and they were distant. That's not the norm. There are people who learn and they went off because for whatever reason, may Allah keep us firm and on this path. But generally speaking, people who learn their deen, they got a good outcome. And then it's said, the one who is close to Allah due to his obedience will be a stranger amongst people. And that happens. You get it? Man kana bitta'ati indallahi qariba kana bayn nas ghariba. That happens. You stand out, people think you're a weirdo, you practice your religion, what, you don't eat haram, what, you don't go to cinema, you don't watch this stuff, and you're not involved in yeah, I'm not. Okay, you're the weirdo. It's fine. We've been told prehand that this is going to happen. These things will be said. So nothing to worry about. وقيل حركة الطاعة دليل المعرفة كما أن حركة الجسم دليل الحياة. It is said the movement towards obedience is evidence of knowledge, just as the movement of body is evidence of its vitality. And then this is again, you know your iman in good shape when you're running to attend a lesson, you're running to learn something, you're running to listen to something. This is a good sign. This is a good sign. Alhamdulillah, may Allah. So when I see somebody's already waiting to listen to this, Allah, it's a good sign. May Allah bless you guys. The Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said, "Aslu jamil khataya hubbud dunya, aslu jamil fitani man'ul ushri wa zakah." He said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the root of all sins is the love of the dunya, and the root of all tribulation withholding tax is zakah. And this is our problem. This is the biggest issue we have: is we start to love the dunya more than Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. May Allah take it out of my heart and whoever else has it in their heart. And we, people run away from giving zakat. And I mentioned this, and some brother he's like really happy because I like what you said. But it's true, right? That people are, say I gave this much zakat, they gave that much zakat. Where's the heroics in that? It's binding upon you to give zakat. Really, the heroics are like you giving sadaqah fi sabilillah, which is not binding, but you're spending, from your money when you don't have to. That's heroics. You get it? Oh, by the way, I prayed my 5 daily prayers today. Well done. And the heroics is in the fact that you've not just prayed your 5 daily prayers, but you prayed tahajjud and prayed all of your tarawih prayer. Well done. That's where it's something special. Okay. And then he said, Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad. What do we have? Might as well finish it off. It is said, المقر بالتقصير أبدا محمود والإقرار بالتقصير علامة القبول. The one who admits his shortcomings is always praised. And admitting shortcomings is a sign of acceptance by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a sign of humility that I could say, I'm wrong, please forgive me. Okay. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those, okay, who are able to recognize their weaknesses, okay, and then rectify them, inshallah ta'ala. And then it said, وَقِيلَ كُفْرَانُ النِّعْمَةِ لُؤْمٌ وَصُحْبَةُ الْأَحْمَقِ شُؤْمٌ. It is said, ingratitude for blessings is baseness, and the company of a fool is bad fortune. So may Allah not make us from amongst them. And he ends by saying, يا من بدنياه اشتغل قد غره طول الأمل أولم يزل في غفلة حتى دنا منه الأجل الموت يأتي بغتة والقبر صندوق العمل اصبر على أهوالها لا موت إلا بالأجل. Dunya, whom illusions of long lifetime have deluded. Was he not in a state of heedlessness until his appointed time drew near? Verily death arrives suddenly, and the grave is the collection box of actions. Be patient over the dunya and its hardships. No death is there except at one's appointed time. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. There you are, we came to the end of chapter 1. Maybe if Allah destines that, I will continue to maybe keep recording something. If I see benefit in it, inshallah ta'ala, I'll try to do it. Otherwise, forgive me for my shortcomings, for any mistakes that I may have made in my reading, my translation, my commentary. May Allah forgive me. May Allah bless you all. And inshallah, we see you happy, inshallah. And Allah join us all in His rahmah, in Jannah, with Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.